Hey, France fans, my name's Jordan Jackson, and I'm here with overage forward for the Kingston Frontenacs, Jordan Frasca. Frasca, first of all, thanks for sitting down with us today.
Thank you for having me here.
All right, we got an exciting weekend ahead for you. It's your last regular season game at the Leon Center. You've had an outstanding OHL career so far, drafted by the Windsor Spitfires, of course, traded to Kingston later on. Before we get into too much of your recent success, because you've had a lot of it this year, let's go back to the beginning. Talk about draft day and when Windsor called your name at the draft and the feelings you had that day.
Well, that day was pretty hard. I was drafted later, and it was weird. I didn't know what was going to happen, and it was the first time my family was going through it. So it was like all different kinds of emotions. I was very excited, very like didn't even know what to expect, and when I saw my name, I like jumped up for joy, and I couldn't believe it. But then when they called me saying like that there's going to be opportunity there because they had the Memorial Cup run the year before, that I knew that it was going to be a good spot.
Now you mentioned you had an opportunity there, and it started right away as a 16-year-old. You split some time between the GAGE and the Spitfires that year. How did that experience going back and forth kind of help you out and develop you into the player you are today?
Well, with playing in the GAGE, helped me develop my offensive game, especially playing with some older guys. I was able to play a lot of minutes on power play and with the top line, so I thought it was good for my development. And then with the Windsor, I was able to see like the difference between like the junior B and like the OHL level, and seeing like how much more I need to give to make sure I'm like a regular there. And it was good, like just playing those couple of games, seeing like the playing against some good teams. And I remember playing against Sioux, which had a really good team. They made it to finals that year, and seeing like what the difference was between those guys and some of the guys that I played with, and then learning from it too.
Talk about the next year, because obviously that year worked for you. You got full-time spot with the Spitfires the next season, 60 games, 23 points, which is a very respectable first full season in the league for a 17-year-old seventh-round pick. So what was that transition like, playing in the OHL schedule for the first time? Because as you know now, as we all know, it's a daunting schedule for a young kid.
Yeah, well, that was a tough year for me. It was hard. I find most people probably have a rough first year just because of like the learning curves and stuff, especially with high school, dealing with high school, and then still having to play a game. And with Windsor, we had a pretty hard travel too, going up to the Sioux a couple of times, playing in the States, and we're further away from everyone. Like I think our closest away game was probably 2 hours. So I found it pretty tough. There's a lot of things I've learned and stuff that helped me grow and help build me. But one thing I learned right away, even before I signed with the Windsor, was to never be satisfied. So at the end of the year, I wasn't satisfied, and throughout the summer, I was pushing for more.
That summer led to some interesting changes for you, because I'm sure you were expecting to go back to training camp with the Spitfires, but it actually ended up being Kingston that you came to training camp with, a trade just before training camp started. What were the emotions that day, and what was the news like when you found out you were coming to the Limestone City?
Well, I was really excited because I knew that there's something special happening in Kingston when they drafted Shane and some of the players they brought in. And I was happy too because some of my best friends were on the team, so I knew I was going to like fit in nicely there. And it was nice. I got to meet the coaches pretty early on, and they were great. Like Foz was great for me. Lucas been great for me. Long's been great for me. Darren's the one that traded for me. I'm always thankful for him for trading for me, and because to be honest, I had no clue what to expect too, but they had no clue what to expect either. Playing in Windsor, they only see me twice in the one game.
Right,
I
yeah.
was probably scratched
Right.
for, so they just took a chance in Derek, and I'm glad that they did, or else I wouldn't be the player I would be.
Going into the 1920 season, again, improvement for you, continuing to get better, but disappointment came at the end of that year with the pandemic hitting and obviously the season being shortened. What was that like for you, the team, and how did you guys deal with that? Because you didn't know immediately that the season was going to end. It kind of dragged into summer a little bit.
Yeah, I dragged a bit, but I didn't. It was kind of like a lot of uncertainty, so I had no clue what to expect, and I think a lot of my teammates had no clue to expect, and I think the whole league had no clue what to expect either. But it was very disappointing to hear that we were canceled, especially we had 6 games left, and I thought we could have done. We could have. Well, you could learn from everything, but we were going to learn from playing in those playoffs, even if we were a younger
Right.
team, where that experience is always crucial to learn. And it was like a shock, and I couldn't control it, so I just focused on what I can control, and we did Zoom calls, we did stuff that could make us better, and I just always focused on that, just getting a little better at every day.
How did you handle the training during the 2021 season when it was canceled? Because you mentioned the Zoom calls and all that. That's great for keeping you guys on the same page in the mind and knowing the systems and all that. But how did you handle the training with very limited ice time available? Was it mostly outdoor stuff? Was it weight rooms? What were you doing to keep in shape there?
Well, I'm very grateful for my family because I have a lot of brothers, so we're all pretty competitive. And my parents, they give us a pretty nice facility at our house where we got we got a squat rack and stuff, and a couple of weights, so we're able to push each other to new limits with that, especially going against my brothers and stuff. And they give us an area just so we could work on our skills. And then we got lucky. One of my former teammates, Dustin, his cousin lives across the street, and they have a private barn where I was able to skate for a couple of those months. And I was grateful for that because ice time was hard. And I just go out there with my brothers and his family, and we just play. To be honest, we just play 2-on-2, 3-on-3, or 1-on-1, just whatever. And that's how you grow. You just try new things and you learn. And then NHL was playing at the time, so I just watch all the NHL games, see what I could take from it, and then just go practice on the barn or downstairs in my basement.
So that explains a lot about this season because you've had an outstanding year this year, no question. Before we get into the stats and what happened this year, let's talk about the honor you received when you did come back, named an alternate captain to the team. How much did that mean to you, knowing your coaches and your teammates had that kind of faith in you?
Well, it meant a lot to me, knowing that our coaching staff has trusted me to be a leader, and I didn't know what it was going to be like. When I came back, it was weird. I just all of a sudden became one of the older guys, where I was more just neutral, and to lead by example every day is a huge honor, and I'm grateful for it.
As I mentioned, this season has been outstanding so far. 42 goals as we sit here right now. One of the best goal-scoring seasons the Frontenacs fans have seen in a long time. 87 points, and that caught the attention of some people at the next level. Of course, on March 1st, you signed with the Pittsburgh Penguins. Talk about that experience, what led up to it, and how excited you were to put pen to paper and officially become a contracted NHL player.
Well, it was super exciting, especially for me and my family. My family made all the sacrifice, and it was just great news. I couldn't be more thrilled. But leading up to it, the start of the season, I had no clue what to think about this year. So my intentions coming into the season were trying to win the Memorial Cup. If I have that intention, the right things will come, and always be team first and stuff like that. And that's been my intention, and it came much faster than I thought, and I'm grateful for it. And they must see potential, and I know I could be a lot better too. Going into the next level, I got a lot of room still to grow, and that's what I think they see in me, and I'm glad they shows me.
This Saturday night, last regular season home game at Leon Center, but of course we're hoping for a nice long playoff run here. So it won't be your last game in this building, but do you think some of the emotion might creep in just knowing that there's no more regular season games and it's all playoffs from here on forward?
It has started to a bit, seeing some of the buildings I haven't played in, that we have played in, Mississauga,
Right.
Leaving there, and Niagara, and leaving there. Those are some nice buildings I like playing in, and even here, this has been a great building for me. I love it, and I don't know, honestly. I'm trying not to think about it. I'm trying to we'll see what happens when it comes, but I think it will be pretty emotional and stuff.
As I mentioned, we do have that playoff run coming. So obviously the bar is set high this year. I know you guys have high hopes in the dressing room. Talk about the excitement level that you guys share right now in the room with these playoffs coming, and where you hope to be by the end of June.
I'm super excited, and I know our team is super excited. I haven't played playoffs since 2019, and I was excited for the 2020 playoffs, which were ended up canceled. But to have that build up for over 3 years now, I just can't wait to start, and it's going to be a little bit nerve-wracking at first, but once I get settled, it'll be great.
You mentioned your brothers, and this is something that's a little unique to your circumstance as an OA this year. You have 4 brothers potentially coming to play. Well, one already playing in the OHL and 3 more potentially coming to play in the OHL. Talk about how much the OHL not only means to you, but your family, because you've already had that head-to-head with Jacob. Gabriel's looking to be a first-round pick next year, and then a couple more on the way. So it's not just about you and Jacob right now. There's a lot more for your family to experience at this level.
Yes, there is, and I think it just brings brings our family closer, especially when we play head-to-head. We have family members that we probably haven't seen in a couple of years come out to those games. And I remember my first game against Jacob. I was nervous, but then I remember hearing that Jacob was even more nervous because we saw family members like that we haven't seen forever come, and people that we didn't even know come, like that were old family friends from when like we were little and stuff. But playing against him is always super exciting, and like that's probably one of my favorite moments is playing against him. And we're pretty competitive, so I always try and get the best out of him and try and get the better of him too.
I wanted to ask you what one of your favorite memories is, and I don't want to, speak for you, but I know on Family Day a couple years ago we had the Frasca brothers face off in the ceremonial puck drop. I'm sure that stands up there, but is there something else about your OHL career that sticks out to you?
Yeah, well, that one for sure, that Family Day, it was just funny how it turned out to be Family Day. And I remember when I got traded to Kingston, my mom pointed that one out on the calendar and said, "That's Family Day, and it's against your brother." And I was like, "No way, that's funny." But to be honest, I think my favorite moment, like I have a lot of them, like a lot of it's done mostly with my teammates. Like every day I'm grateful for being with them. Like they're such a good group of guys. But I think the one game particularly had to be the breast cancer night, especially, the cancer night. So the cancer night was a huge night for me because of my cousin. She goes to Queens actually, and she had cancer, but she battled through, and she's cancer free now. But it was her birthday that night too, and she was in the building. And that game I was first star, and I had the 2 goals and 2 assists, and we beat Peterborough 5-4. But also like hearing like other people's stories, like Lucas and everything. There's nothing more special. Like I just sat in like awe after the game, just like I had to like soak it all in.
One of the greatest things about hockey is it's often more than hockey, right? Obviously there's the on ice and all those sorts of things that go into the game, but your teammates mean a lot. And obviously in this situation, something that happened outside of the game itself, but within the organization meant a lot too.
Yes, it did. And that was crazy how it worked out. But I was thinking about that game for a while.
Before we let you go, is there anything, any last messages you want to give to the fans here? Because I know you only unfortunately got 2 seasons because of the one lost season in Kingston, but I know you've enjoyed your time here, and the fans mean a lot to you.
Yes, they do. I just want to say thank you to the Kingston fans for accepting me and embracing me, and hopefully they enjoyed the way I played and stuff. I just want to say thank you to the coaches here and all the GMs like Corey, Cooper, Darren Kiley. Thank you to the coaches, Luca Caputi, John McFarlane, Chris Longo, our old coach Curtis Foster, our video coaches Troy and Rourke, our trainers especially. The trainers do a lot behind the scenes that probably most fans probably don't know about, like Chris Nelson, Brooks Taylor, even our old equipment manager Cookie did a lot for me. And I just want to say thank you to the Springer family, and thankful for the Kingston organization. They made me the player I am today, and I'm grateful for that.
All right, Fres, thanks so much for taking this time. I know you're very excited to get going with the playoffs, and I know France fans are very excited to watch you not only in the playoffs this year, but continue your hockey career with the Pittsburgh Penguins following this season.
Oh, thank you.
All right, thanks for this.
Oh, wait, can I say one more?
Absolutely, go ahead.
I want to say thank you to all my teammates, too. It's been a pleasure playing with all you guys.
All right, that's Jordan Frasca, overage forward for the Kingston Frontenacs. He's ready to get out of here. He's got practice, so we're going to let him go. Again, thanks for this, Frasca, and good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.